With the theme of a runway to billion opportunities, Asia's largest aviation show, Aero India 2025, is set to take off at Yelahanka Air Force Station in Bengaluru anytime now. It promises to throw up numerous commercial and technical development opportunities, both in military and civil aviation sectors, while also enthralling the aircraft and flying enthusiasts. And today there were several firsts that were seen at this aero show, the most significant one being Air Force Air Chief Marshal AP Singh and Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi undertaking a joint sortie. The images playing out on your screens, and what an image that is. I will tell you why it is unprecedented, but first tell you what happened. They went together in a sortie in the Tejas fighter aircraft. Remember, it is an indigenously built aircraft. It is being showcased at Aero India in Bengaluru. The Indian Air Force and Army chiefs flew for around 45 minutes in this LCA Tejas. This is the first time that two chiefs of armed forces have undertaken a flight together in the indigenous aircraft. Remember, Tejas is a single-engine, multi-role fighter aircraft that has been designed and manufactured in India. It has been developed by Aeronautical Development Agency and produced by Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. Tejas is being used by both the Air Force as well as the Indian Navy. Why exactly was it that two forces chiefs decided to fly a single aircraft? Remember, it is unprecedented because of security reasons and other reasons as well. To answer those questions, we are joined by two very special guests. But first up, listen in to what the reactions were.
It was a best moment of my life. And as you are aware that Air Chief Marshal AP is my coursemate. We've been together from NDA days. I wish he had met me earlier, and I would have definitely changed my option to the Air Force. As I have told earlier also, that if I had gone to the Air Force, I would have been a fighter pilot. And I must say that from today onwards, Air Chief Marshal AP is also my guru, because he made me do a lot of roles and other activities while in the sky, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great challenge and really relished it. I'm really grateful to the Indian Air Force, and I must admire the kind of a challenge the pilots of the Indian Air Force take. And it's a great synergistic approach from all of us, and I'm sure it's a good start for the Aero India 2025.
All right, before we go to our guests, we are joined by Pradeep Datta, who is going to tell us all the details about what to expect as the aero show kicks off. Pradeep, it's over to you.
Rightly said by one of our panelists that nothing can be a very good start for Aero India 2025 than Air Chief Marshal himself flying this Tejas fighter jet, and in cockpit another person who was sitting was General Dwivedi, Chief of Army Staff. The message was clear that one, that it is about Atmanirbhar Bharat. India is no more dependent on other countries. India is self-reliant so far as defense technology and aerospace is concerned. And second thing is, here are those officers who are leading from the front. That makes India one of the best defense force. And third is that they are trying to instill confidence among youngsters also. That see, this is made in India aircraft. It is a single engine and a multi-role jet, fighter jet aircraft, and made by the Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. So this is very good to fly. And fourth important thing is that how to inspire younger generation to don uniform so that they can also serve motherland India. That was the messaging. 45-minute sortie. They were in air, and after that they landed, and you can see that smile beaming on their faces, and how much confidence they are going to instill, and also the spirit of patriotism they are going to inculcate among all those youngsters who were present during the aero show. During this, you'll see that how many more products will be showcased, because this will be for another 5 days, and this is considered to be Asia's largest air show that will be in Bengaluru at Air Base. And here people from different walks of life will be coming. People from the industry will also be coming, where Indian Air Force will also be showcasing their products also. And I think that this India has arrived. Now India, instead of buying products from outside, people will be buying products from India, and Tejas aircraft is one of those examples. What Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks about, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Self-Reliant Bharat, and here is another example of Self-Reliant Bharat, two sons of soil, and how they had been flying this aircraft 45 minutes. They were in air and flying finally that sortie was over and instilling confidence among each and every person who were a part of that air show today. So
all right, stay on with me, Pradeep. We are also joined by Group Captain Augustine Vinod and Wing Commander Praful Bakshi. Wing Commander Bakshi, first tell us how significant are gestures like these?
Thank you very much. This gesture which you saw, the two chiefs flying together, this actually brings in the spirit of cooperation, cohesion, jointmanship, whatever you say. Army and Air Force have to work together and fight together. There is no doubt about it. You only achieve your objective when both the forces are together. Let me tell you, whenever Air Force has been missing from any action, the defeat has been imminent. And Air Force by itself alone cannot do it until Army goes and attacks and occupies. So that is why this gesture of our Air Chief flying his counterpart from the other service today actually carries this message throughout the nation that you have got fighting forces which are one unit. Gone are the days when they used to think separately, that this is my domain and that is your domain. That doesn't work out here. It is one fist they become, and they punch hard to break the enemy's will. And that is what you have seen today. Of course, it was an aerobatic sortie, and the other chief, was introduced to it. He was very thrilled, no doubt about it. Anybody will be, even you will, if you go to the cockpit. In the cockpit, you will also find the same feelings. But these are not only mere feelings. This is a thought conveyed to the entire spectrum of youth of the nation.
There is also a lot of talk about Atmanirbharta, but when politicians say it is a different matter. So a lot of people take it as political rhetoric. Sometimes it's called chest thumping, or sometimes it's called jingoism. But Group Captain Augustine Vinod, when there are two forces chiefs who decide to take matters in their own hand, and then there is such a display of not only the joint bonhomie of the two forces, but also the show of faith in indigenous technology. It sends across this same message at a different level, would you say?
Absolutely. And see, a couple of things, couple of firsts. This is the first time, like you covered, two chiefs flew together. Now, let me reverse this question. Why didn't two chiefs fly together in the earlier times? Because you couldn't risk losing two chiefs in an accident. Now that question again arises: why didn't we show that kind of confidence in the yesteryear's fighters, which were mostly imported, MiG-21s or what have you? Today, if you look at the safety record of Tejas, for any single engine fighter in the world, it is one of the best. In the entire lifespan of Tejas, there was one accident, and that too probably because of some nothing to do with technical. We had last year an accident in Jaisalmer where the aeroplane flamed out, but it came and landed, and the pilot ejected safely. Other than that, for any single engine fighter to have this kind of safety record is unprecedented, and that is the reason why two chiefs flew together. Secondly, this is Aero India. I mean, the question that you asked, let me give you a little context to that question. The last Aero India, last Aero India, as well as the last Aero India. The last Aero India is the first time we conducted a drone Olympics in an Aero India ever in the world. And I happened to head that particular drone Olympics. And we invited drone manufacturers from all over the world who came and showed their capability of drones in India. So jingoism or chest thumping is something India doesn't do as a culture. We have always underplayed our capability. How many times are you chest thumping or am I chest thumping, saying that Aero India is the Asia's largest air show, and it is biennial, once in 2 years, and the aviation exhibition people come from both from otherwise enemy countries. Where will you get to see an F-35 and a Su-57, both first generation fighter, both which can evade radar in one frame anywhere in the world? It's impossible. Largest air show in Asia. The other two air shows, some of them I've been to, is Frankfurt and Paris Air Show. There you can't see these together. Secondly, in most air show, it is confined to just being just an air show. Here, it is not just an air show. It is going to be, showcasing of cutting edge technologies, fostering strategic dialogues between. We have the defense minister conclaves, the CEOs conclaves. I'm sure you will cover as the days goes by. We have something called an India Pavilion where startups are showcasing their products. So it is in a mixed bouquet of technology. Of course, we are calling it an air show, all right, but it is going to be a mixed bouquet of technology where we are going to drive technological advancements by bringing together the innovators and industry leaders and also enhancing national security. So that underlying requirement of enhancing national security is always there, and strengthening economic growth, like you covered the Atmanirbhar. I wrote an article recently in one India's Defense Review on Kaveri engines. We are going to go have that on display. So it's going to be, it's an absolute exciting times that we are living in. Today I was telling somebody, in my lifetime I got to see the Mahakam, and in my lifetime I got to see the Tejas and Kaveri. From where we were. Just before I was born, when the aviation was born, and I got to be a fighter pilot flying one of the best aeroplane, MiG-21, and one of the most advanced aeroplane of my time, Mirage 2000.
Yes, there's also something that the army chief said today, Upendra Dwivedi, after he took a sortie. He was like, we heard that reaction earlier when he said that had I been in the Air Force, I would have wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I'm really grateful that I got this opportunity. But speaking of opportunities, which also happens to be the theme of this Aero show, sir, it's about billion opportunities, but since sir mentioned the presence of two fifth generation stealth aircraft at the same aero show from Russia as well as from the United States, Wing Commander Bakshi, would you think that there is more to this than just optics?
Of course, there is more to it than optics. India has already studied its requirement. India knows very well what is F-30 about. F-35 is all about. India knows what Su-57 is about. India knows what is the background and what is the doctrinal thinking of Russia when they developed the Su-57, the defensive doctrine which they have. And they know exactly that America has developed its weapon system on an offensive manner because America is always on offensive. There is no attack on the American soil ever. They are always fighting war beyond their soil in various continents and countries. So they have to be offensive throughout. So the development of the aircraft is developed is carried out in such a way that it goes and develops into that realm of their requirement, and India knows what is their requirement. India knows they don't have the doctrinal thinking like America has, that they are not fighting the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and everywhere else, and policing the whole world. They are not doing that. India is going to be defensive. So in defensive, their requirement, their thought process, their philosophy is suitable to what it goes alongside what Russian thinking is, and that is why the Russian Su-57 is very more suitable to us from various other angles, whether it is a turnaround time, whether it is cost effectiveness. There are many other factors which have gone in to select that aircraft. And that is why how the radars are placed, how Su-57 works in conjunction with the ground radar, all these things suit the Indian method of thinking and fighting, and that is why, though they have not announced anything, but I personally feel that is how the things will be thought of.
And the significance of it is also underlined by the fact that Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is present for the opening of this aero show. But before I wrap up, a quick question, Group Captain Augustine, as Prime Minister goes in 3 days from now to the United States, anything on this, on the India's, what India would want from the US specifically in terms of defence, aircraft equipment and tech?
Certainly. I don't know. For the sake of viewers, let me cover this. In last decade, I mean, since the time Modi government has come into place, we have inducted many United States aeroplanes into Indian Air Force and Indian Army. Apache, for example. We are very few countries which is operating an Apache attack helicopter, both in the Indian Army as well as in the Indian Air Force. T-5 Galaxies. We are outside the NATO, probably only country operating C-5 Galaxies, a large transport aircraft. C-130Js, which is, and again, other than probably US and a couple of NATO countries, C-130 and C-130J is different. C-130J is for special operations, and it can work like a, airborne artillery gun. So that aeroplane we are operating. We are in talks with many equipment that we want to induct from United States and especially, given the bonhomie between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. I hope many otherwise not released technology outside NATO comes to us and we bolster our, national security, like I was saying. But I hope F-35 is not bought, because we have seen many crashes of F-35A. B, though I have been all my life a single engine fighter pilot, fighter pilot operating a single engine, I have always been a proponent of having a multi-engine or a twin engine fighter aeroplane, because the second engine is the redundancy that a fighter aeroplane needs, and Su-57 of both the stealth fighters. Su-57 is a twin engine fighter, F-35 is a single engine fighter. So you lose one engine, you lose the aeroplane, probably lose the pilot. I almost died. I mean, the skin that you see is all new. I had a crash and I was flying a single engine fighter. And when I lost the engine, I was like, fish out of the water. I didn't have the second engine to support me. I had to force land, caught fire, and God's grace, I am alive and talking in front of you. That is not the case in case of, say, Sukhoi.
Yes, what you just said, sir, unfortunately, I've completely run out of time, so I'll have to interject. But what you just said also puts in context, once again, how significant it was that we saw two forces chiefs taking the cockpit at the same time in LCA Tejas. A big show of trust in India's indigenous technology. Thank you, Group Captain Vinod and Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, for joining us on this broadcast. We take a very quick break.